politics? Here's my review of the 4th season of House of Cards.
Who's the one and only master?
I am.
House of Cards can be described very simply. It's about a ruthless politician's rise to power after he's snubbed for a position that he really wanted. Oh, what? A corrupt politician? That's crazy, right?
We are not nominating you for Secretary of State. I know he made you a promise, but circumstances have changed.
The nature of promises, Linda, is that they remain immune to changing circumstances.
I knew you shouldn't trust that woman.
I didn't, I don't trust anyone.
The main character, Frank Underwood, played by Kevin Spacey, will go through any length to get what he wants. He will run over people, he will kill them, he will do whatever it takes to get what he wants, and that's what really makes this show pretty amazing for me. Frank Underwood is very honest about that he'll do whatever it takes to get the job done, to get what he wants, to rise to power. Whatever he has his eyes set on, he's going to get no matter what the cost. He literally tells you that shit in the first 5 minutes of the first episode in the first season, and he sticks to it. And from the first season, you really like that. He's not really the hero of the story, he's the anti-hero, he's the anti-protagonist, whatever you want to call him. He is a person that, in spite all of his ruthlessness, for some reason, you still root for him. And he does some pretty underhanded shit. Actually, I wouldn't even say pretty underhanded. He does some fucked up stuff in this show, but we still root for his characters to succeed, and that is an amazing thing in any show. And now we've reached the 4th season, which is fantastic because I powered through the first 3 seasons, and I had been waiting and waiting and waiting for the 4th season to come out. And while I thought the first 2 seasons were spectacular, the 3rd season sort of fell off for me. I actually have an article that I'll link below where I wrote where I thought the 3rd season was kind of losing sight of what made the show good in the first place. You're used to Frank Underwood being the man in charge, being the person that's doing all the underhanded stuff to get the job done, but in the 3rd season, he was playing more on the defensive the entire time, which really diminished my enjoyment of the season as a whole. So I was really excited to see if the 4th season would sort of rectify that and get him back on the path that made you like the show in the first place. And while I do think that they fixed Frank Underwood's character in this season, the 4th season, I think that they also did a couple other things that made the show still not really reach its full potential yet. It felt like a lot of the stuff in the series, they were just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard, trying to see what would stick as a storyline. Frank Underwood's finally back in action, and he's badass, and they finally rectified some of the stuff with him and his wife that were kind of going on, which was a little weird. Like, their relationship is by no means perfect, but it's getting closer to what it was before in like season 1 and season 2, which was a dynamic that was really unique that I actually liked and worked out in their favor. And the pacing of this season was actually pretty interesting because it's a show, a lot of shows I recommend binge watching because I really enjoy the binge watching experience, is going through in a series and just watching it all in one go. And I actually dislike shows that kind of force you not to do that. Like, for instance, the first Daredevil season, this is probably going to ruin some of my credit, but I never actually finished the first Daredevil season because the episodes, to me, were paced so poorly that by the end of an episode, I'd be hyped at the beginning of an episode, and by the end, I'd be bored with the episode because they took too long to get anything done in the entire episode. So then I would just get bored and not watch the next episode. So I still, to date, have not finished the Daredevil season. This show does the opposite. This show actually keeps you engaged the entire time, which is weird because it's a show mostly about politics. So there's not a whole lot of interesting stuff that goes along. And there's a lot of build-up, and there's a lot of story elements, and a lot of plot building and stuff like that. But it keeps you interested and invested every episode. And it kind of leaves you with a cliffhanger every episode to keep you watching and watching and watching. But what I liked about the pacing of this season is that there's a distinct point in the beginning half of the season where it shifts in tone and story to the second half of the season. So that's actually a very good stopping point if you want to take a breather, maybe go grab some snacks, maybe take a couple days to digest everything. You can actually go to, I think it's about episode 6 or 7, stop, and then go from 8 onward and kind of have they're almost like 2 separate seasons. Think of them as 2 separate sub-seasons that are sort of interrelated, but it's a good point where you can actually stop and say, hey, all right, I'm going to take a break for now, so I need a breather to take all this in. So I really like the way they split up the series and the season to give you that sort of break. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that the ending of this season will either have you respecting the Underwoods or hating them for what they end up doing at the end of the show. So I'm not going to spoil what it is. However, I feel like it's going to divide people. You're either going to love that they did it and respect them more, or hate that they did it. So I don't know. I'm still kind of wishy-washy where I'm at, because I actually think that it shows that like I kind of respect them, but at the same time I also like it's what they end up doing is a little crazy. So I don't know if I wrap my head around it just yet. I gotta take a little bit of time, and maybe I'll get back to you. Who knows? But the important thing is that this season does rectify a lot of the issues I had with season 3. Although, again, I do have issues with how they chose to tell certain story elements. I think that they're closer to what they were before. That really gave me a lot of enjoyment for watching the show. But don't take my word for it. It's all on Netflix. All 4 seasons is on Netflix. Go out there, watch it. Take your time while doing it. Binge watch it, whatever you want to do. But this is an incredible series, and Kevin Spacey is phenomenal as Frank Underwood. So go out and enjoy this series. But what were your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video. And as usual, remember to subscribe to our channel. And feel free to go to madmadsreviews.com to get more of our amazing content. I look forward to seeing you next time.
Now, if you will excuse me, my plane leaves shortly.
You are going on a quest for knowledge?
No, I'm going to visit my mother in Miami.